Pins and needles. Scratching a hot needle across your skin, or about 5,000 pinches per second. If you can relate to any of those feelings, then you probably know how it feels to get tattooed. Getting a tattoo is very common nowadays, and most people don't question why. But back in the day, it was very uncommon, and most people would think that you would be a delinquent and they would have no reason behind it. Personally, I do not know how it feels to get a tattoo, but yet, hopefully in the future, I do, because I will be getting one with a significance. Getting a tattoo at first may sound a little scary, but then when you realize why you are doing it, then you decide to put aside whatever fear of pain you just so you're able to obtain a certain piece of significance. Now, of course, not everyone gets a tattoo because of significance. They sometimes get them because they think they look nice and they fit in. And although that may sound like one of the worst claims ever, it will be up to the person to decide what they want in ink in their body for the rest of their life. Personally, I would not get a tattoo that has no significance, because I do not want a certain ink that has no significance in my life for the rest of my life. And of course, there is like laser to get it removed, but I will not be putting myself through that pain, because in my opinion, it is not worth it. When getting a tattoo, it can hurt you physically and mentally, because you are thinking that, what if it doesn't look nice, or what if it's not good enough? And although that may be true, the end result for most people turns out to be better than what they intentionally expected. Now, me personally, I've already gotten through the fear of getting the tattoo, because I've already made up my mind that I want to get it. It has significance. And a famous soccer player that plays for the club Watford, a fullback, he has a full back tattoo that took years to complete, and it showcases key figures and symbols from the American Civil Rights Movement. He has Bob Marley alongside Rosa Parks and Muhammad Ali, Marcus Garvey, and his ship is there alongside with the Black Panthers. And that he did that tattoo in order to fight civil rights. That just shows one of the great significance on why he would give himself a tattoo. He gave himself a tattoo in order to show what he stands for, and that's for black rights. And from what is going on in today's society, it is a very good tattoo in my opinion. Today I will be discussing the reasoning on why people get tattoos. Tattoos have been around for centuries, but the only difference is that back then people would only use them for religious reasons. Religious as in like the Aztecs, the Indians, and all those, just to name a few. It is difficult to state how far back the historical backdrop of tattoos comes to, as it likely originates before written history and agricultural remains. New disclosures are being made each year that add to our image. At present, in any case, the most punctual proof of antiquated tattoos is on human stays known as the Iceman, found on the Italian-Austrian outskirt. The Iceman is evaluated to be roughly 5,200 years of age. So even back then, people were tattooing themselves. And they would get like rocks, or they would get a certain piece of wood or stone to get the tattoo on them. And so imagine that pain on them. But they would do it because they had a significance and they wanted to get their point proven. Now that you are a bit aware of the history, let's talk about some famous people that get some tattoos and the reason behind it. Most often behind the significance of the tattoo. Personally, I love soccer, so I'll be using a bunch of soccer facts. A main soccer player that I love, his name is David Beckham. David Beckham might be the most famous soccer player in the Americas because he played for the LA Galaxy. And that was large news in the soccer world. He was the most popular soccer player to play in the United States and was marked to a $32.5 million agreement. He decided to get a tattoo of a scribbled piece of art of his daughter had done on his arm. He had like a little a little piece of art, a little scribble that his daughter made, and he decided to get that tattoo in him forever. Now many people will see that as silly and no reason behind it, but to him it meant so much because his little daughter did that little scribble in his arm, and he wanted to show the world what his little daughter did for him and what she would do. And although that may sound like a very bad reason, to him it meant the world that his daughter may be in his hand forever. And now with context, people will see that that tattoo does have reasoning behind it. And whenever he looks at his arm and he sees the tattoo, he will be reminded of his daughter and how she made his life important. It's small tattoos like these that can seem silly to someone who does not know the meaning behind it, but it can mean the world to that certain person, since they are the ones who decided to get on their own body for the rest of their life. That's just one of the many tattoos that David Beckham have. Despite famous people getting tattoos because they have a significant meaning, there can also be famous people that get tattoos but have no reasoning or meaning behind it. One of them being Kendall Jenner. Kendall Jenner is an American TV character and model. She is included on the E! Network, and she appears on Keeping Up with the Kardashians alongside with the remainder of her family. She is a fruitful model who is demonstrated for her dress line, which has some expertise in dress for proms and expos. Although she seems to be the role model for a lot of people, even she can have her moments in which don't make sense. When she went to Ellen DeGeneres' show, she showed off her brand new tattoo in her bottom lip. And the bottom tattoo, it read meow. And Ellen DeGeneres asked why would she get that if it seems silly. And Kendall Jenner and her both laughed, and she even said yes, it is silly because she was drunk and she decided to get that tattoo since it was the first thing that came up to mind. And now looking at it, most people see that is very, very dumb, but it just goes to show that even people like Kendall Jenner can have her moments, and it goes to show that everyone is still human after all. In a nutshell, many famous people can have tattoos that have a significant meaning, whereas other famous people don't have a meaning behind it. But this goes to show that even they can make decisions like that without thinking. Now, although this might not seem like a more comparable tattoo than towards religion, it has its own unique meaning to Beckham's life because it is significant. It's a significant meaning that came from his own daughter, and whenever he looks at his arm, he sees the tattoo, he will be reminded about his daughter forever and why she makes his life very important. A daughter's love can make a man's life everything. Fathers will agree with me. And despite famous people getting tattoos because they have significant meaning, there can also be famous people that get tattoos but have no reason or have meaning behind it. In a nutshell, many famous people can have tattoos that have a significant meaning, whereas other famous people don't have any meaning behind it. But this goes to show that even they can make decisions like that without thinking. And thank you for listening to my speech.